Let me start by saying, reality is reality, no matter how many times you try to rewrite it, twist it, distort it, or misrepresent it. The Bible is a book of fiction. Have you ever read it? We suggest you read it. We've read it. Every single one of us, there are 7 of us, we've examined it thoroughly. And I'll just mention a few points from it. We'll focus just on 3 segments of the Bible, 3 particular pieces that are probably the most offensive thing ever written. A sure sign it was written by man. Just look around you and see some of the things man has done. You'll get a pretty good idea, especially if you consider wars a pretty violent act against humanity's basic understanding of ethics and morals. Okay, so here's Job 25:4, a pretty remarkable thing considering this was allegedly written by some kind of moral, supernatural Santa Claus who lives in a cloud. How can any man be just in God's sight? Or how can any woman's child be innocent? That's Job 25:4. At the very beginning of Genesis, in the very beginning of the fictional book, the Bible, this alleged God character creates man, allegedly in its own image. So immediately there's a gigantic contradiction which can't be ignored, can't be twisted, can't be distorted. The reality is, this God is saying man is evil. We're created in its image, which means God's evil. Okay, let's move along to something that actually demonstrates that quite clearly. Okay, so now we've established that either God is a fictional creation of man, so is the Bible obviously, or God is evil. Now let's take a look at something that would actually substantiate the fact that God is evil, the latter of those two. When a man strikes his male or female slave with a rod so hard that the slave dies under his hand, he shall be punished. If, however, the slave survives for a day or 2, he is not to be punished, since the slave is his own property. This is Exodus 21:20-21. Okay, so now we've established one of 2 things. Either God is evil, as we're told he is, very simply. Man's evil, God created man in his image, so, okay. Or the Bible is absolute fiction. The idea of a God is fiction, and the people who wrote the book are despicable, treacherous liars who used it to control masses of stupid people. And at this extremely high level of moral rectitude, we have this God creature saying that it's okay to beat someone to death as long as they live, quote, a day or 2 after you beat them severely, fatally. So it looks like the people who wrote the Bible are the sickest, most murderous scumbags on earth. They're really the sickest. Who else would recommend beating someone to death, an employee? Although it does sound like the Republican Party, this was even more primitive than them. So we have the high moral standards of Christianity and religion, again dictating here. So this piece where a man who's created in God's own image violently rapes a victim, a female victim, presumably a young woman, since we're pretty sure most rapes occur to women who are under 70. Regardless, we have the victim being forced to marry their violent criminal sexual assault assailant for life. And the violent criminal rapist pays the victim's father for her, for this eternal romance. Yeah, this is a pretty moral God. So if you're a Christian, don't forget to take your medication. If you do actually ever intend on melting back into reality, the real undistorted version, not the fictional interpretation that you sadly have after your deep and thorough brain scrubbing, then you can actually take a firmer grip on things around you. More important things like reality, your life, the one you're living here and now, because you don't get another one. That's it, right here, period. So throw your scriptures in the trash, burn them, whatever you have to do to move on from fiction to reality. You'll feel a lot better. So will the world, since they won't have to put up with your bullshit. And we practice a remedy: burn a Bible for peace. We do.